EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for July 8th, 2020. For your Wednesday, we're going to reintroduce the thunderstorm threat across the region today. This is not going to be like it was 2 days ago, but yesterday we had very little in the way of activity. I think we had a little bit more of an increase in activity, at least for the interior areas. And then when I say interior, I mean northwest of I-95 by a good bit. So the interior locations will have the opportunity for isolated or widely scattered thunderstorms today, but I do think it's going to remain below severe limits for the most part today because we have very, very poor steering flow aloft. The shear is somewhere around 10 or 12 knots. That is extremely low, and so that means these storms aren't going to be moving and they won't be very organized what does form. So the reason for that is we have a short wave moving up here in New England. It's going to have a kind of a surface boundary just kind of draped across the region like this. And along that boundary, you're going to have the opportunity for some scattered activity. Again, it just mainly the interior and diurnally driven, which means it's going to be generally afternoon and early evening. And then once we hit sunset, the heat of the day goes away, and so do the storms. Here's the high-resolution rapid refresh. And I'll start this off very early because there could be, with a frontal boundary still in the vicinity, there could be an isolated shower or so in a few spots here early on this morning, and then that goes away. And then you can see when we get into the afternoon, and again, this is generally after 1 o'clock, you see this stuff pop up here, and they're going to be very arbitrarily placed. So there's not going to be any organization to this. They're going to be all over the place. And again, you can thank the steering flow aloft for that reason. But you see this these storms aren't moving very fast. And as a matter of fact, they're moving extremely slow. And where they do pop up, you could have some isolated to scattered convection. This goes all the way up to 8 o'clock, and then after that point, it just kind of falls apart and goes away. But there could be some areas, again, in the interior favored, that could have the isolated to scattered thunderstorms. And where it does hit, you could have very heavy rainfall because the storms are not going to be moving very much. The precipitable water value content in the atmosphere, which is a measure of how much moisture is available to dump, basically, is very high. We're approaching 2 inches for that. And there could be some decent amount of lightning with some of these storms that pop up. So be on the lookout for that today. Don't think it's a real big wind threat today. I mean, the lapse rate's a little high, but you really don't have a lot of the same parameters we were looking at the other day. So I think it's going to be mostly a heavy rain, maybe some hail if you get some higher cloud tops, and also the moderate to frequent lightning with any of these storms. Very slow moving, so just watch for that. For the flooding concern is going to be the highest today, more than anything else. And you can see that here on the global models where it does develop. It is, again, in the interior up northwest of I-95, both Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So it might get, interior northern New Jersey, and then also northeast PA all the way down to south central PA on a line right there where that boundary is as that moves through today. So that's the storms today. Otherwise, it's going to be variably cloudy, times of clouds and sun. And you'll have temperatures and maybe a little bit warmer than yesterday by a couple degrees. Once we get to Thursday, we're going to turn hotter again, but I do think we're going to have a dry day across the region. Temperatures should get up into the lower 90s in many locations, so it's going to be feel a lot hotter, and it's definitely going to be more humid as well. There's a surface low here that's going to be developing near the Carolinas. We talked about this in the last couple of videos here. This might actually have take on some tropical characteristics, or at least subtropical. Those might be a subtropical depression. It's uncertain if it'll be strong enough to be named, but I do think it has a shot here. And this will stay down to our south here on Thursday. So then Thursday night we see an increase in clouds, and then here on Friday we'll have might even be late at night down here across southern New Jersey and Delaware. We'll have this system continue to develop and move off to the north, and the European model is going to keep most of that precipitation either offshore on the east or northeastern side of that low. So the heaviest precip is shown to be in these areas here. So the far interior really doesn't get into too much of this action, even though the surface low is sitting right here. And again, this is going to be a warm core system, so it would have tropical characteristics with it. And that also means it's just going to be a heavy rain deal, not very little lightning, as is typically the case with any kind of tropical system. And then as we go forward through the day here on Friday, this is an all-day Friday thing, where it gets some heavy rain, even west of the Delaware River here, and brings it a little bit farther to the west. But there's also going to be a quick exit of this system. So it moves off to the northeast pretty quickly. So it goes into parts of the overnight here, maybe about midnight or maybe just past that here on Friday night. And then by the time you get to Saturday morning, this is pulling away and you have partly cloudy skies in its wake. But right on its heels is going to be a cold front. So once this moves away, you're going to have this cold front come through later in the day. And you're going to have scattered showers and thunderstorms possible here later on Saturday. So we're going to continue to move this thing away, and here's the cold front coming through later in the day. Could be some scattered thunderstorms with that late in the day or evening on Saturday. And then on Sunday, we're expecting skies to go back to partly to mostly sunny skies as this system pulls away. And temperatures are still going to be on the hot side, kind of on either side of 90 degrees, maybe upper 80s in some places, near 90s in others. And that's going to continue right into Monday, it looks like, with partly cloudy skies. Now, this frontal boundary is going to be very close to the region here. Can't rule out an isolated thunderstorm here on Monday, even though the European model not really indicating that. And then Tuesday is a partly cloudy day, but with a northwest wind flow, which will keep temperatures in the mid to upper 80s for highs here on Tuesday. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martins. That is your outlook for July 8th, 2020. Have a great Wednesday.